He is an ethics hacker and a developer at the Future Partners. So a little bit of a different session than our other speakers. He's gonna give a little presentation um, on himself, and then it's gonna be questions and answers with the audience, so you can ask him anything, and he can inspire you to become a software engineer. So.
Hello, thanks for having me. And I'm excited to be part of the Tech Mind Summit. I've prepared a small presentation to introduce myself. Let me quickly present it. Yes, it's processing. Yes, I think it is there. Yes, thank you. Yet again, thank you for having me. I'm Ilke, a freelance ethical hacker. I have worked in many different companies. Here are a few of them, and especially right now, I'm a part of the Future Partners. It's a collective of all freelance IT guys, just like me, doing a lot of different parts of IT. You can think of security, software engineering, definitely a lot of those guys, DevOps, management, all kinds of stuff. People that are more interested, you can scan the QR code to my LinkedIn profile and connect with me. A little bit about me. I have 9 years of work experience in IT general, and 8 years of that I dedicated to IT security. Back in the time, I started as a system engineer, worked as a network engineer. I got into software engineering. That was a part of my ethical hacker training. I loved it that much that I'm still developing software in my free time. Since last year, April 1st, I started freelancing. The sectors that I've worked for during my ethical hacker time, I had the pleasure to make a lot of different organizations a little bit safer. You can think about government agencies, financial institutions, healthcare, manufacturing plants, and other businesses like enterprises as well as smaller businesses. And that's it about me. Time for questions. I see there is a question from Annika. My advice for weak programmers in doing coding interviews. Well, I'm more of a IT security guy, but when you say weak programmers, I think there are no weak programmers. They're just people that are learning. If during those interviews, if you have feedback, definitely listen to the feedback and try to learn from them and improve. What programming languages go into ethical hacking? Yeah, that's well, most of people that think about Python right away because it's a high-level language, easy to learn, and it can be quite fun. And there is a really big community that has already developed a lot of libraries that you can use to achieve your goals. But eventually, software is written in many different languages. And when you are presented with a security question, a penetration test, as we call it in the industry, you need to adapt. You need to learn that language. Most of the time, when you have seen a few languages, you will see that it follows the basic principles of for loops, if else's, and while loops, and just the basic structures of programming. If you know those, you can read almost any language and yeah, get things done. Next question. Wilson, I'm currently working as a fraud analyst in Berlin. I would like to know what is the main area to focus on most as a software engineer. Well, for fraud analyst, you're basically looking at certain transactions, and transactions are either benign or they are fraudulent. And well, you need to look at the first stages, and most of the time you can get it flagged, and from there on you need to investigate, because legally you're not allowed to do fraud analyzing automatically. There always needs to be a human involved. How someone with 40-year-old that have just started software engineering will be able to have the first job? I don't think age has anything to do with getting your first job. You need to just get out there, show yourself, have a bit of faith. Most of the time you are enthusiastic in what you do, and when you show that, people will definitely hire you. Just in the previous presentations, when they talked about soft skills, those are really important. Work on those. The technical skills will come. The hacking stages, yes, that's a very good question. There are many different types of hacking stages. A lot of organizations try to standardize it, but the most important one is that one of MITRE attack framework. Let me just let me put a nice thing up. Yes. Basically, it has a few stages, and it always starts with the reconnaissance. You're just looking around, seeing how it works, what is out there, trying some benign stuff like the way how you normally would use the application. And during those reconnaissance stages, you always put your developer hat on by thinking about, if I was the developer of this application, how would I have done it? And what kind of things I would be able to do wrong here? And then you start in the next stage, that you start to poke around and learn a bit more about how the application behaves. Key thing here is that user input is really, really bad, and it can escalate quickly. So by trying stuff out, I can see like, oh, this is how the developer has built it. So if I do this and this and this, then I can do some malicious stuff. And that's the execution stage. You execute your payload, your malicious user input, and then the application reacts in a unspecified way that the program maybe not even intended, but yet it does. And from there on, you gain access to maybe the web server or the underlying infrastructure, And from there on, you start to have a privilege escalation stage. That's where you have some influence, but you're not fully in control of the machine yet. So you escalate your privileges. That's another art. And then during those privilege escalation, you always need to look out for defensive measures that have been put through. So defense evasion is also an important part there you need to think about. And once that you have achieved the highest privileges, you trying to, as we say, root the machine. So you take control, you upload your malware, and you establish command and control of that server. And from there on, you do the same things again, rinse and repeat, and try to do lateral movement to other parts of the network, to other machines, maybe other users that are using the application, and try to compromise everything you get till you find something interesting that you want to show your clients. Say like, hey, I've managed to penetrate this deeply, and I found some sensitive information. Maybe there's some trade secrets, or even worse, personal information from people from clients, from regular people. Here in the EU, there are major fines if you do not fix them properly. And from there on, when you get that information, you can always try to exfiltrate it. So that's the stage where you try to get the data from their infrastructure to your infrastructure. And finally, that kind of concludes. Next question. Yes. IT security is very wide, just as wide as any other IT area, because, hackers don't care about if you're a developer or a system engineer or a network engineer or just some regular user. So first you need to think about what kind of IT security area do you want to track to. I personally started with web application pen testing because it's fairly easy to start with. And from there on, I went into infrastructure pen testing. And from there on, I got into red teaming. Red teaming is like a catch-all test that the company can conduct, where you do not target specific infrastructure, but you target the entire organization, from the people to the applications they use, till the email, till their websites. Everything is almostly permitted. So if you want to develop into IT security areas, I suggest you to try to discover, see what's out there, and try to find something that you're really interested in and have fun with. And my main suggestion for that is look for capture the flag sites. Those think about Hack in the Box or RootMe, and there are many others. A really good website to note down is wechal.net. That's a website that has a list of all the capture the flag sites where you can just legally try your skills out as an ethical hacker. Even if you do not know anything, most of those websites will help you out in a certain way to develop those skills. Next question, please. Yes, that's a fun question to answer. The thing is, I was always interested in IT security. I can remember from when I was like 10 years old. I like to play video games, and the classical thing, parents did not like it. They tried to lock down the PC, with a password or something else, and I always found an intuitive way to access the computer again to play my games. And from there on, my parents said, like, when I was a little bit older, like, yeah, you should do IT because as your parents, we know that you will succeed in that way. And during my school time, I also experimented with security by developing a little bit, building infrastructure, and also doing a bit ethical hacking on capture the flag sites. And from there on, I already knew, like, I wanted to do this because I wanted to do this, and that's the most important part. You need to have fun. Having fun is the most important part for your career path. So, as a software engineer, you have a very, very good base to start with IT security. So, I would say try to expand on that. Next question, please. Yes. That's thank you, Brandon. Brandon is a good friend of mine, and it is an excellent question that he's asking me. Yet again, capture the flag websites are also for experienced practitioners. There are special kind of challenges there that simulate whole networks, even enterprise networks, with also defensive measures in place where you can test your skills to the fullest. Those environments are usually just as real as if you were doing an actual penetration test at a client. So try them out. And in some websites like Hack in the Box, you even get a certification from them if you complete the challenges. And that's also a nice addition to your CV. What are the top technical and people skills for a software engineer? Well, yet in the previous presentations from our other presenters, they said soft skills are really important. You need to work in a team, and you're never able to cover all the parts of a software engineering team. So the parts that you're less good at, other people are usually a little bit better at. And from there on, you can work together. Working together is key because together you will get better, and together you will learn better. So from that, collaborating with each other is really important. And as top technical, I would say always learn a little bit Linux and Unix commands. Those are always useful. You never know when they are needed. Next question. You seem to have a good career transition in tech. What are your career tips for those who are looking into for transition in tech domain? I would say if you're interested, try things out yourself. Find the areas that really pique your interest. Once your interest is piqued, you will eventually find your path and eventually your career transition into tech. Yet again, having fun is the most important part. Next question. How do you stay up to date with the latest technologies and techniques in ethical hacking? That's a really good question. I have built up a newsfeed in the past several years by just reading, trying out different news websites, and also a few other sources like Twitter and Reddit. Um, those places are really good to stay up to date with the latest technologies. I would recommend the NetSec subreddit, and also on Twitter to follow a few key figures in the industry. Maybe a good one is Sportswigger. Those guys are phenomenal with the newest technologies on web pen testing and ethical hacking. And there are many others. Just research and see what's out there. And once you find something interesting, start following them. And you might have some good insights from those people. Ah, standard tools. Usually, I'm more of a guy that wants to build its own tools because it gives me a much more flexibility in the type of stuff I'm doing. But there are a bunch of really, really great tools out there for specific tasks. Maybe you want to note down, maybe if you want to do web pen testing, you should look at Burp Suite. That's like a Swiss Army knife for the job. It can do almost anything you want. If you want to do infrastructure testing, Nmap port scanner, that's one of the best port scanners you can start with to discover and start the reconnaissance phase. And not only tools, but also offline resources, or we say passive reconnaissance, we call them. Things like Shodan or Census are really, really great websites that collect a lot of information that you can use during a penetration test. For example, Shodan is like the Google for IP addresses on the internet. You can find a lot of stuff there. Maybe on Census, they keep track of all the certificates that are being given out for websites. There you can also see a lot of interesting stuff and discover a lot of infrastructure of clients. Another tool, I think definitely learning a programming language is also one of the most powerful tools that you can have in your repertoire. My go-to is usually Python, but I'm not shy to use other languages as well, like Golang or C or C++. So those are, I think, the best tools. Next question.
Hi, I think we asked most of the questions. Most of the questions were asked. So thank you so much for answering all of the questions. I know there were a lot of different questions, and I'm glad you're here to answer them. Um, so just as we're finishing our summit, I just wanted to also talk about what we heard and what we learned during other speakers. Um, I heard a lot about the different languages like that we people should or shouldn't learn, and something that resonated with me a lot was that the languages, like, you don't need to be very specific in one language. You need to learn the coding skills, and then if you know that, you're going to be able to code with whatever language, and you're going to be able to learn fast.
Definitely.
So that's something that really, I thought it was nice, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I only know one language, maybe I should, but um, and another thing that I found that was very interesting were the soft skills, that a lot of people talked about the soft skills that are needed for software engineers. And I feel that that is not very talked about usually. Lots of people, or at least people that are applying or starting their career, they think more about the hard skills than the soft skills. And the soft skills are a very important part as well, not just when you are already in the job that you're working with the team, but also in the interview part. You're going to have to talk to someone, you're going to have to communicate and explain
Mhm.
what you're doing. And so I thought that was very nice.
Indeed, Isadora, that is really important. The soft skills. Eventually, we're building software, but people are using it. So soft skills are almost the most important part.
Okay. So thank you so much for coming, for doing your Q&A and talking a little bit with us. Um, so it was very inspiring and informative as well. So to finish, I want to thank you, everyone who came, um, participated, shared their insights. I know I learned a lot. I think all of the speakers also learned a lot from the other speakers. It was very, very informative. Um, this is the end of our virtual summit. I had a great time. I hope everyone enjoyed as well, and learned as much as I did, from every single speaker. I think everyone talked about different things, but you could tell that they all tie in together at the end. So I think it was very informative. But I'd like to thank the speakers for coming, taking the time of their day and talking to everyone. But I also want to thank, tech support, and marketing support, Ibrahim. You can't see him, but he's backstage doing everything. So thank you. Also, ELU's founder Alper, who helped us organize the event, and everyone who came and watched and asked questions. And if you want to know more about the organizers, give us a follow. Or if you want to know anything about any of the speakers, you can also email us and we can give you more information. So thank you, everyone. Bye.